All right, we are now live. We've been um, dealing with some setbacks, but we are
Yeah.
finally here.
I will be completely transparent with everyone. I was dropping my sister off at school this morning and I texted Austin. I was like, oh, yeah, I'll be back in time. Was back in time. The issue was, I thought my earphones were just like somewhere. I don't know where they are. So I had to scramble and find the now having good earphones, the crappy backup earphones that I had. These used to be ones where I was like, oh, yeah, I love these. Like, I'll settle on these. But these are, compared to the good ones I usually use now, these are okay.
Well, I'm glad that you could make it. Um,
Happy to be here.
so I haven't done a whole lot of promotion. I'm not sure we got a whole lot of people watching, but it is exciting that it is open and available to input.
The first live.
Our
It's awesome.
first live, 37 minutes late.
Yeah,
But
37 minutes late. 37 minutes late, as well as like if someone watched the last episode, they're like, Brandon looks a lot different. Like I'm trying to grow my facial hair out. I've never
I was
tried it
gonna point
before.
that out. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you got some
yeah,
chops
yeah.
right
Some
here.
shadow. Yeah, I've never tried it before. My girlfriend like was like, hey, let's just see. And so like it's been like a little over 2 weeks. So I'm just trying. I've never even last time I tried doing this was like junior year of high school, and it
Hmm.
looked horrible because I couldn't like it wouldn't all fill out. Like it wouldn't do this. It was literally just this. I look like a
Yeah.
billy goat slash like kind of look like ball chin, honestly. So that's why I never tried growing it again.
Well, things have changed in the last 10 years, so
Mm.
well, you have told me that you were having some more life updates that were good.
Yeah.
Um, are there any of those that you want to share?
Um, with the public, I can say like relationship wise, things are great. Things are really great. And I'll talk to Austin
Awesome.
backstage.
I
Sorry
guess
for those that are on the live stream, but Austin will get further details.
I guess those details have to be great considering that she's uh, forcing you to have facial
Nah,
hair.
no, she's not for it. She just like helped like encourage me. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I'll try it.
no, I understand. Um, well, I put in last night to have the review for my Kickstarter for the fitness program.
Hmm.
It's still a little too scant for them to approve it, but I'm trying to get it to where I can have people go and get signed up to be notified for that launch. Um, and I've got some assets here to share in a second. But I'm really, the more that I develop it, the more I'm excited about getting it done. I'm thinking that the February or March point might be where it's close to being done. It might
Oh
be
wow.
where it would be close to having it kickstarted and stuff. But um, the bulk of the writing is done, and like I already had the basic 2 week plan figured out as far as the workout goes months ago. Um, so like the content of it is like ready.
Yeah.
But the illustrations are what's going to take time to get done. Uh, I think I counted 20 some odd exercises. There might be some crossover for some of those to like, I just got to tweak the illustration a little bit to make it work for the other exercise. But I'm looking at probably at least 20 different variations of exercises where you have to have a start motion and then an end motion to demonstrate the exercise.
Is each exercise going to be one page, or is some of it going to be like more? Or
I'm thinking of just having an exercise index.
okay, yeah, yeah,
So if I can fit one or two exercises per page, that explains the exercise, and then when you get into the program itself, you can refer to the index.
that'll be good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that because like I don't know, literally since we started the podcast back in like October, November of, what was it, 2022, or was it
I think it was just last
2023?
year, 2023.
2023, that's what it was.
Hmm.
Yeah. Like that was one of the first things that you talked about was the exercise book. And at that point it was like not saying it was a dream, but it was kind of a dream.
Hmm.
But now like seeing how far it's come, like it's like, no, this is like reality. Like you're like actually going to do it and it's going to happen, sort of thing. So it's awesome
Yeah,
to see.
yeah, it's really fun to see it. That's why I'm so excited to start getting people to look at the Kickstarters, because like I can really see it now.
Hmm.
Um, oh man, but these illustrations take time, and I didn't anticipate for them to take time. You know, when you look at if you've ever been in a gym and you see a machine and you see a description on how it works, and you might see like a few simple illustrations of somebody doing the motion of the machine. That's kind of like what I intended to do. They're usually not very detailed. In fact, they're almost just a silhouette. But I've been putting in a little bit more detail.
Oh, that looks great. Yeah.
um,
I didn't
so
realize how fit Fritz was.
that's I was I texted my girlfriend like I was trying not to make Fritz be jacked, and I ended up making her look jacked.
Yeah, she looks yeah, she looks great.
um but yeah, as you can see, there's like a 1-2 motion for each one of these. This inverted row is a little backwards, and like I'm also gonna have to have like a little stick man figure to kind of show like super duper side profiles of like the angle you might be standing at,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
that kind of thing. Uh, but like this tubing shoulder press is it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't have to add much for that. And then um, and then if I want to show like a dumbbell version, all I got to do uh, is get rid of the lines there, and
Oh,
then edit, draw
then just
in.
the dumbbell. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's awesome.
Um, and then like for the reverse lunge, you can have an option to have dumbbells. So I'm gonna have to have like a little extra illustration to show holding dumbbells. So just to show what it looks like. But yeah, so I've got all that underway. Um, so I'm excited to get that ball rolling. I'm simultaneously working on Envy still. I've just about wrapped up another 2 pages, and that update should be going out by, if not tomorrow, then probably next Tuesday.
Nice. Yeah, right now some of my comic stuff is just like on a slight hold because I'm just prioritizing a few other things right now. But Gallows Man 3, that is still happening. That's like all the backer, I think I've talked about, I at least talked about it in an update of just, I think we talked about it last episode. I don't like the update that Kickstarter did where you have to make all of the backer surveys before you can send them out. It used to be
Mm-hmm.
where you could just like each reward tier, you make the backer survey and then you can send that reward tier survey out. And while you're working on the other ones, Kickstarter changed it to where you have to do all of them before you send it out. And so that mixed with like life stuff, good life stuff, positive life stuff, has been why there's been a slight delay there. But people are going to get Gallows Man 3. Gallows Man 4, regarding writing specifically comics, is kind of at the forefront of my mind regarding any of the comics I'm writing. There's like stuff I'm still editing. Um, but regarding stuff I'm writing, that's at the forefront of my mind, where once I get Gallows Man 3 out, I think it'll just be one of those things where regarding writing, it'll just kind of be somewhat of a focus just on Gallows Man 4 and just like writing that. And also no deadline. I mentioned it before with Gallows Man 4. I'm not going to force myself to like, oh, I got to have it done by this. Like it'll be done when it needs to be done, because I think it's, for me as the creator, as the writer, it's like the ending that I need for it slash I want for it, that I know people will get a ton out from. I just want to give it the time, give it the pace that it needs. Um, so yeah, that's kind of the updates with like Gallows Man stuff. Um, there's a couple series that I've written in the past that I'll say they're at least on pause nowadays, that like might not see the light of day. Um, it's just one of those things where like I personally am okay with that,
Yeah.
because I just want to prioritize some other things, as well as prioritize some other writing. Like there's other writing that I want to do, and that be kind of a forefront sort of thing. Tio and I have talked about doing co-writing on a number of things, not just comics. There's also, because I mean, we had store brand comics. Like that was a podcast we did that started back in like 2020. We did that, and we would pitch stuff, and it was just like, it was just constant. Half the time it's shooting the breeze. Other half the time it's writer's room, basically, between me and him, and it just being fun. Dismay Comics podcast, whenever we had that, which new episode of that might come out eventually. Like Tio and I have like kind of like changed our priorities. Like we're still like he and I are even closer friends now, but we just hang out more in person now.
Yeah.
Um, so like there's different stuff, like some of the stuff we've done in that podcast, like some of the pitches and stuff, some of that stuff we want to write, like and just pitch or make it a comic or different stuff, because like he's going into creative writing. Like he's all in on that. He's been taking classes and stuff, and so it's one of those things where like we've talked about it uh for more than a year, a couple years. But I mean, we just looked at our like friendship over so many years, where it's like, dude, I think we should just, we're not only we should, it's just like I feel like we're just being called to write something together, or at least
Hmm.
like encourage each other in our writing and stuff. And so that's that's something. So likely see stuff in the future with that. Um, yeah, there's just been a lot of interesting life stuff that's happened, life shifts, job shifts, and stuff that have happened with me, and are happening with me, to where I'm just like, I'm all for it. It is ultimately just me like buckling down and like, all right, let's see where this goes, sort of thing.
Hmm. Well, excited to see what happens. And the shift, how's that looking
It's
for
going good.
February, January, February?
We'll see. I hope it is a January 21st launch. That's what we've talked about. We'll see. I hope it does launch then. That book will come out. Um, I love like working with those guys on that book. The thing I love most about it is like writing it, like as the writer, as well as like the past couple months, just like the ideas of where it's going from here have just been like, okay, yes, I'm heavily motivated to where I want to do all the marketing stuff.
Hmm.
I do. But I just love the writing aspect and collabing with these guys to where that's like more my focus, me mentally. Like that's what I love. I still will do some marketing stuff. I still will, but I'm not going to go like crazy on it like I've done in the past because like it's just not worth it. There's other
I've
stuff I got to do in the or not got to do that I want to do in the
mhm.
day.
I've come to hate marketing. I
I'm glad
just
you said it because I was hinting at it right there. I almost dropped the F bomb right there. I effing hate it so much. I hate it so much. Like, like it is of all the all of our creative stuff that we do, marketing is the number one thing that I like just dislike. Like I
Mhm.
like nearly every part of the creative aspect. Marketing is the one thing where I'm like, dude, like I just want to write, I just want to create. And I'm not talking about like the shift. I just mean like me in general as a
Yeah.
writer, as a creator. Like I can, because whenever we were talking about like that zine um, festival that you were at, that you tabled
Right.
at Low Mill, like if that was the rest of my life as a writer, I'm not saying like I can see it being more than that, but if that was the rest of my life as a writer, I'd be completely content and happy with that because I'm
Mhm.
just creating, I'm putting stuff out there. Like even if it's not like Books a Million, Barnes and
Yeah.
Noble, all this stuff, like that stuff would be great. But me personally, that's not that's not the reason I'm doing this. Like the reason I'm doing this is I just love writing. I just love creating. I love putting it out there. And even if it's a few people that see it, even if it's 100 people that see it, like I'm still happy because those few people or those 100 people got to see me. They got to see me in that writing, in that creative thing. Um, Even if it's a few people, like I'm happy with that. That doesn't mean I'm not being complacent because there's a difference between contentment and complacentness. Complacentness is you're just like, yeah, like I'm just stuck here and I guess I'm stuck here.
Mhm.
That's complacentness. Contentment is you can be at a point and you're happy with that point. You're still striving, but that's the thing with contentness. You're still striving for more. You're still striving for a higher goal, but you are happy and content with where you are. Even if you don't reach that point, you're still happy and content with where you are. So that's where I am. That's where I've like been for a long time with making comics slash just writing in general.
Mhm.
Is like the money aspect would be great, but that's not the reason I'm in it.
Yeah. I mean, I would go I've mentioned this before. I would go to comic conventions as an attendee, and I would get to see people just like um how Eli saw me a year, or earlier this year at a
That
convention,
was so awesome.
but
That you're
I
you're
would
talking about
see,
the guy who later had a
yeah,
table. Yeah, I
yeah,
love that story.
and I would was kind of much the same. I saw people getting to make what they like and then sell it, and
Yeah,
I was like, that's what I want to do,
yeah,
and the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I I like my part time, or not, I like my day job. I like being able to be free there and work on my comics and everything. Um, and if it none of this ever amounts to just being able to break away from that day job, if none of this ever amounts to me being able to have a living off of what I do, it is still going to be um, fun and fulfilling to go and do what I envisioned and saw at these other conventions,
yeah,
and be able to also be able to make the stories and everything that I've always dreamed of making. And it's like getting it off my chest, like
yeah, yeah.
I just have to
Exactly.
do it, like,
Yeah,
because otherwise I'm twiddling my thumbs being like, I should go make my story that I really want to make, and I've been thinking about it for years, and I should do that, but for whatever reason, I'm gonna just play my video game, or I'm just gonna sit here at work and doodle. I mean, that was me at Paragon when I was doing the Sisyphus routine of just print, collect, organize, stack, roll, print, collect,
Yeah.
stack, organize, roll. And I was like, but is all this going to be worth it? And then I
Mm.
wanted to see, so I really thought hard about the positions that were ahead of me. And I thought hard about, will I have the freedom in doing this that I want, that I'm looking for, you know, the creative decisions and having the creative mindset for, or the application, you know, the practical application that I learned for doing these things. Am I going to be able to get to use that for the positions ahead of me? And for the most part, the answer was no. I'm going to still have to answer to somebody, and they're still
Yeah.
going to give me tedious, stupid stuff to do where I know better. I know that it would be, you know, better this way, but that's not going to fly, you know, for whatever reason. So
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta quit, and I gotta find something different. And
Yeah.
I want to make my stories. So
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where, like, regarding wanting to make the stories, like, it was one of those things where, like you felt a change, because one of those things, like we all face a I heard this like a couple weeks ago. We all face like a catalyst for momentum at some point, and different points in our lives. A catalyst for momentum, you basically get to a point where, not saying you're stuck, but you get to a point in some point in your life where you can either be uh, uh, successful and there's just too much comfortability in that. You can get to a point where it's somewhat laziness and you're just kind of stuck slash comfortable in that. And there's other examples as well, to where for momentum to happen in your life and changes to happen in your life, it gets to a point where, like not saying it's like painful, but essentially like the desire or pain to make those changes, like eventually, like, here's a better way of putting it. The desire, hold on, actually, I've got it on notes. I heard this dude say this and I wrote it down and I was like, there's reason I'm writing this down. So give me a second, people. I'm human. We all suck at talking sometimes. So give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. Let's see.
speaking in video is one of my biggest weaknesses.
Okay. So this is the quote. I had to look it up because I didn't want to like bastardize it and butcher it and all that. Change only happens when the pain of what we are doing exceeds the pain of change. So I'm going to repeat that for people that are listening. Change only happens when the pain of what we are doing exceeds the pain of change. So you get to a point in your life eventually where there's this pain or this dread or whatever it may be that is just like happening in your life, and when that exceeds the pain of it, because change can be painful, it can be scary. It can
Yeah.
be scary to do change because it's like, oh my gosh, like so much is shifting in my life, so much is changing. It can be scary to have those changes happen in your life. But when the pain of where you are at outweighs the pain of change, that's when change starts happening, because you realize, like,
Hmm.
oh, like that's not going to be as bad. Me changing, like, that's not going to be as scary or as painful or whatever it may be. And this deals with making comics. This deals with like all aspects of life. Um, and it's just one of those things where like, yeah, that happens regarding, and I should say, I think that happens with every creative that happens regarding like taking the step, taking the plunge to actually creating,
Hmm.
to actually making that comic, actually writing that script, actually this, actually that. It's one of those things where you have in your head for so long of like, oh, like I'd love to do this. I want to do this. That'd be good. But then, and I'm speaking out of experience, you're just falling back into the codependencies and the escapisms of life, such as like I still love movies, but I when I watch them it's for a purpose or a reason now. I would just watch and watch and watch movies, and I was just like sucked in. And other people can relate regarding just constant playing video games or constant this, constant that, like all of these things where it's like it's okay in moderation, these
Hmm.
things, watching movies, playing video games, whatever it may be. But if it's like taking up all your days or all your nights, like, and you're creative, that is holding you back from actually doing it, from actually creating. Because at some point, you'll get to a point, and like Austin and I can vouch for this, you'll get to a point where it's like, all of my time is going into this, watching all these movies or playing all these video games, to where like if I actually do want to write, if I actually do want to make this comic, if I actually do want to make this film or whatever it is, I need to cut the time that I'm spending on playing video games, that I'm spending on write, or that I'm spending on watching movies, that I'm spending on doing this, doing that, all these different things in people's lives. Like they know what it is. You have to cut that time if you actually want to create. You have to make the time for it. It's one of those things where like the dread like eventually kicks in of like all right, this is going to be scary for me to do because I've never done it. I've never made a comic before. Where do I start? How do I start? This is going to be scary for me to do. But that pain of like where you may have been at in life before of like all right, I feel this pain in my life regarding like not doing the change, not making the comic sort of thing, to where the change, the scariness of making the comic isn't as bad, isn't as
Hmm.
painful, to where then it's finally like, all right, like damn, let's just make this comic now. Like I'm motivated. I want to do it now. So I
And
think that's the
even
key thing that everyone feels at some point as a creative. But go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, and even as somebody who like is familiar with art and with I went through college with familiarity and degree in graphic design, so knowing what file types are and um, what you're trying to uh, make with printing, like familiarizing yourself with printing and layouts um, and compositions and stuff like that. It's still a really hard thing to like uh, get used to doing, like trying to know what it's like to look at different printers and see who's going to be better for what print and who does this better, and oh, I can negotiate, so I can get a quote here and try and get a quote here, um, and then making sure your DPI and everything is the correct resolution, and making sure that you address people or give credits, and what do I want to add here, what do I want to add here, and experimenting and everything is still very much on the table, and it's still a learning curve. um, so it was actually a little bit more than I had realized. But when you get used to it, it's more and more, it's less and less painless.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, or less, it's more painless.
Less painful. Less
Less
painful, I think,
painful.
is what you're saying. You don't say less painless. It's like, oh, you're more and more pain.
that's, that's what I thought. I was
Yeah,
like,
no, I get
oh
what you mean.
no. But it gets easier,
Yeah, yeah,
and then, but it's still looking for another challenge. So I just ordered some deleter manga paper, and I'm gonna try and get back into uh, using manga paper, and I'm gonna try and start working on the second project alongside Envy. Um, so that project is going to be a little bit smaller, and hopefully I can get a good page output with a smaller page. Um, but it's going to be different. It's not going to be what I've been doing for the last year, and what, how my comic book dads taught me in 2017. So a lot of it, but it's still going to be relatively easier because I am familiar with how printing and formatting a page works.
yeah,
Translating that over to just a different size will be different, but should still be uh, working. But like, you're still going to have different compositions with the different page size. Now you're looking at different ways of drawing the comic, and utilizing that page space. So um, you just want to keep adding on to what you're doing, and like I'm doing with the fitness program, that's going to be different. That's going to be not a comic book. That's I'm going to have to really lean into the typography um, and layout and composition of the page, and how I brand myself in this and everything. So it's going to be less about the story and the art and more about this is a product. So
yeah, yeah. No, I think that's great. And like Austin had said, like for those listening out there, it gets easier and easier as you're getting into it, but you're also learning more and more. So there's also
Mhm.
some scary elements that can still pop up because you're just learning more and more. But it's just continuing to go with it, and in every step of it, kind of taking that it's not even a leap of faith. Really, it's just like a little baby step of faith.
Mhm.
Little baby step of faith of just like, okay, so now it's going to go. Let's see where it goes. But you just have to take that step. I've mentioned it before on at least a couple of the episodes of, I know Shia LaBeouf, controversial figure. I know that. I very much know that. The videos that he did in 2014, as cringe as they were to some people, are so freaking true, especially if you're a creative. It's literally the just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it. Like it's so true. And I know people will cringe at it, they'll laugh at it, but I can guarantee you if you have just done it, if you have taken that step of faith, it's not even a leap, little step. You have taken
Mhm.
that in creativeness, in whatever aspect of your life. Like you if you have done that, you don't laugh at the cringiness or whatever of those videos anymore because you understand how true that is. I think it's one of those things where, like, if people haven't truly done that before, taken those steps, the just do it, don't let your dreams be dreams sort of thing, if they haven't done that, those are the people that are laughing at those videos and saying those are cringe videos. If you have done that, you understand those videos a lot more.
Yep. Yeah, and I've I've kind of attributed some of my just doing it to that video because I would never tell anybody that. I'm not brave like Brandon is. But I would I did, you know, have to just kind of every it, it's not really like it's profound. It's just that
No.
he made such a caricature of that's the first thing that comes to mind when you realize that that's what it takes, that you just have to get started and just do it. So
Yeah.
um Brandon, I wanted to do some updates real quick. um One update, this is actually really more or less going to be the only update, but uh next month I'll be going full time at my day job. And I'm already full time, 36
Yeah. Yeah.
hours, but I'll be going to 40 hours. And some the lady that retired and I took her position up there at the gym, she kept one day on um, as a part timer, just doing Wednesdays. And that's why I get my Wednesdays off. But now she's deciding to fully step away from the job, and I'll be taking over that Wednesday. So every day I'll be able to at least get home from work by 3 o'clock, and I think that one day out of the week we'll be able to adjust uh, this live stream and whenever we do our movie reviews or whatever.
Yeah.
But just a heads up, this 9 a.m. thing is only going to be um, I think Christmas lands on a Wednesday. Yeah, it's in 2 weeks, and then there's New Year's. Um, so it looks like next Wednesday would be our last 9 a.m. Wednesday.
Yeah.
So after that, we'll keep everybody informed and updated on what
Yeah.
day and what time we choose. I'm hoping to not cross wires with other people doing their live shows. But I think it'll also be better for people to join in.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it'll all work out how it needs to work out. Because yeah, you mentioned the life shifts, going full time in your job. Like, who we'll talk more, and who in a good way. It's just wild. There's a lot of life shifts for me to where like there's different moving parts, but like, and I don't even know specifically. I know job wise as well as like city wise, like who knows specifically when, sometime within like the next 2 to 5 months, like I'm going to be different job, new city sort of thing.
Mm.
So I'll keep Austin updated on all that. I'll go into it further detail. Sorry for all the listeners, but
No, that's
it's
good.
moving
We
parts, moving parts.
so we're both undergoing some changes that will kind of affect the podcast. So
Yeah,
just have a heads up on that. Um, for all 10 of you that watch. Uh, so I also wanted to mention that last night or 2 nights ago, I watched The Lighthouse.
oh, for the first time.
Yeah.
I saw it, like I didn't see it in theaters. I think it like came out on like rental when I saw it, and that was like 2019 or something like that.
Yeah.
I remember a good bit about it. I still remember a good bit about it. Um, I remember because I had a friend when this was when I just got out of nursing school, but a friend that I was like still talking to that was in nursing school, Raquel. I remember we were talking back and forth about The Lighthouse, and she like loved it, as well as my friend Noah loved it, and like everyone loved it. I was like, I really like it. I think it's a little, at the time, I think it's changed. At the time, I was like, I think it's a little overrated. I
Hmm.
do really like it, but at that time, I was like, it's a little overrated.
Yeah, I think I loved it. It was really it because it did what it set out to do,
Yeah,
and you're like starting to kind of warp your own brain trying to kind of follow what's actually going on and stuff. So
Mhm.
I'd be excited to do a review on that in the future, um, before or after the Godfather. I'm not sure, but um,
Yeah, with the lighthouse, I almost I do want to see it again. I almost just want to do like my commentary on the review
mhm.
of someone who saw it 5 years ago and just key things that I remember about it. Like that way someone who has freshly seen it can be like, I don't know what you're talking about. That was in the movie or whatever.
Yeah, that would be funny. Um, so we might do that um, next time. That would actually be next Wednesday. I don't know. We will keep everybody informed.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be posted.
um, I've been watching the new anime Don Don. That's been really fun.
That's pretty good. I heard the
I
manga is really
recommend.
good. I've wanted to read the
Um,
manga. It's just like yeah, life stuff. I need to, because I think it's Shonen Jump. I think is what it's on. Um, if it's not, then I have to figure out some way to read it. But
Tio would know more than me.
Tio, yeah, Tio would know a lot more uh, than me because like he's always been an anime guy, but like the past couple years he's gotten like big into manga. So like yeah, he'll know anime or manga. Tio is now like the go-to guy for me because like I don't really watch much anime. And manga, I did read a lot of manga, but I don't read it as much now. So anytime I need to ask someone about something, I'll go to him. Um, but I'll also, with a caveat, be like, okay, this information, but in like 5 to 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Sometimes we will spiral into an hour or 2 hours of talking about this. It's like, I don't have time for this right now.
um, yeah, it's a really goofy anime. It's everything I love: ghosts, paranormal, occult, and part of me again is like confronted with this like why I just wanted to make a story about demons,
Hmm.
and I just want to make a story about occult topics and you know the big question of like of are they or aren't they are things outside of our understanding still possible? Have we cracked all the codes?
Mm.
Um, and I keep getting confronted with the fact that people are flooding this, or it seems like to me, in my vision, that people are flooding the media landscape with all podcasts, animes, um, videos, uh, projects, and comics, and just everything is like occult oriented,
Like supernatural. Yeah.
supernatural, paranormal.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm like, am I just, you know, in this wave with everybody else, or am I actually like different? Like, is this, you know?
I think it is a
Mhm.
difference thing. Like there's obviously your own stamp and brand on it. But I think it's just one of those things where like people for some spiritual or supernatural reason have just been more drawn to the stuff outside of the normality of life. Like I'm a Christian. Like I follow and like love Jesus. But I understand like everyone is like trying to figure this out and they're looking beyond the normality. They're
Mhm.
looking toward the supernatural. Supernatural with like loving Jesus and stuff like that, or sometimes other ends of supernaturality. I think it's just one of those things where like people are looking beyond just the natural. Um, and you see that a lot like the past 10 plus years with all the media that you're seeing. You see that craving of something beyond the normality. Because I think
Hmm.
deep down people know there is something beyond the normality, whether they believe it or not.
Well, that's what that's what I think the case is. Just I don't. It was like it's like I want to make my story, and I'm going to make everything to the best of my ability, and
Yeah.
follow through with everything. But am I going to be relegated to like that age where paranormal had an influx, and it's like
I don't think
just
it's going to
one among
be.
all, just
Yeah,
like
I don't think
it's
it's going to
like
be a found footage paranormal activity situation where like
yeah.
it starts off like yes, you have like Blair Witch Project, but it didn't really start taking off till Paranormal Activity, and then now you have the oversaturation of found footage
Hmm.
horror ghost movies. I don't think it's going to be that. I think it's a much broader spectrum of what you're looking at to where like you still have that originality there.
Hmm. Um, well, I was gonna compare to like 2010 to 2016 ish,
Yeah, yeah,
like zombie era, like
yeah, yeah,
everything's
yeah,
zombies,
yeah,
you know. So, but um, is what it is,
yeah,
as far as when it comes down to it. Uh, but yeah, that's just something that I've constantly been like noticing is like I thought I was the weird kid when I grew up on the History Channel and Animal Planet watching like these dumb, you know, UFO documentaries or the chupacabra and stuff. Like I was glued. Like I wanted to watch that so bad, and my mom would be like, "Oh, that's not real. That's the fake stuff." Click, and
no, yeah.
just
I
go on by.
loved like some of those. Did you ever watch? I think it was called like it was either on the Discovery Channel or it was something. It was called Fact or Fiction, um,
Hmm.
Paranormal Investigation or something. It was essentially this team. There's a team that would like see videos online, like ghost or a creature or whatever it may be. And I liked the show because like of the time of the reality paranormal shows, it felt like the most.
I think we're losing you, Brandon. You're frozen. Either you're frozen or I'm frozen. I want to message him. Lost connection. Please hold as we wait on our friend Brandon. Okay, so Brandon's internet went out. He is currently trying to reboot it. And I suppose that I can keep the topic going on the uh, ghostly and paranormal. Um, he said he'll jump back on when the internet's up again. So, um, but what something that I wanted to mention to Brandon was that I, as much as I enjoyed Ondadon, um, it and other forms of occult and uh, the paranormal topic is approached as primarily just primarily as just a vessel or a joke, and it's not really uh, taken seriously, which it's not meant to in that realm of media. But the idea that um, things such as UAPs have been fully approached. There's been Congress hearings, there's been interviews, there's been extensive reports made on objects the U.S. military and sober military uh, personnel don't know what they are, and they are not given any explanation as to what they are. Um, I think it really raises some huge, massive concerns that are that reach back further in history than people realize. This isn't just as far back as 2004 or 2000. This, this these kind of things are reported as far back as the 1950s during the height of the Cold War, um, and even then there are other historical um, recordings of odd and strange things happening in the sky. So to think that this isn't something to be concerned about, to me, is ridiculous. I think that it should be much more transparent, and which also raises another really big issue that I have is that these commanders and lieutenants in the military, for one, the senators and the hearings and the those involved with the hearings uh, are also involved. Um, the president, as far as I know, are not ever debriefed on what these things are. So, at what level are these actually in? So, Brandon is now returned. I'm going to bring him back to stage and see what he thinks.
All right.
All
New
right.
answer. All good. I had to crack the whip on the old hamster that was keeping the internet going. Uh, didn't work. All things worked out. A new hamster. Well,
You're kind of glitching out. Kind of sounding like a robot there.
I might be.
You might have to type in the chat.
Yeah. Why I get out? Let me exit out. I'll go back in.
Okay, I heard that part.
Am I not exiting out? What is wrong? All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you much better.
All right. This is live, people. It's okay. Everything will be okay. This is what you have to embrace and endure with a live, everyone. So it'll be okay. Every little thing is going to be all right. What were you talking about while I was getting a new hamster?
I went into my spiel on the concerns that I have with the lack of seriousness that people give to the paranormal and um, things that were once kind of more so relegated to strange or kooky people.
Mm, mm.
The main one being UAPs, um, because like I already kind of stated, there's a lot of government officials of the military and of the government that are acknowledging that these things are here, and they're getting reports and extensive documents as to um, their own debriefings to explain to the best of their ability what they've seen and how they've approached it, what it did. My favorite being Commander David Fravor of the Tic Tac incident off the coast of California, San Diego. So um, it's just kind of brought to light for me. Right where I left off was the indication to me that um, there's a even higher form of government that is above the Senate and that is above regular military
Oh yeah,
that
yeah,
is not disclosed to us in
yeah,
um, and that's concerning.
yeah,
That concerns me almost as much as there being UAPs that are, you know, uh, relegated to the away from the public and relegated to
yeah.
not be taken seriously.
Well, I think it's and like I'm at peace with it because it's like it is what it is. But I think it's one of those things where people, if they don't like, if they're not willing to like, I think it's a lot of people just bury their heads in the sand sort of thing regarding like this bigger thing of a government. And I'm not going conspiracy mode, people. It's just what it is. If you're burying your head in the sand, that's on you. The deep state, or there's terms for it that people get a little bit triggered by. Forget the terms. Forget the name of Illuminati. Forget deep state. Forget the terms. Just saying there is a bigger power regarding a government, whether it's United States or global, that is the case. And if you are like not like considering that, like it's not even, that's not even a conspiracy theory thing. It's like that makes perfect sense. Like
Hmm.
it's just yeah. I think a lot of people, they get triggered by certain words and they think conspiracy theory. It's like no. Like just look at all of the things regarding not only our government but other governments, and just
Oh no, I think his hamster died again. No, no. Yeah, yeah, we lost it. But for sure, I was kind of under the impression that the Senate and that the regular military, that the broad swath of the military would be considered the government. And when people say the government are trying to hide something, I always just kind of thought that that's what they meant. Um, but um, now it seems that the those work workings of the basic forms of the government don't know what's going on. um, is it's just, how do you fight that? And they intend for this not to be able to be um, encroached on, which, I think that Joe Rogan said a few months back that if they could take away the internet and erase that from us, they definitely would. Um, but I hate the vagueness of saying they as well. It's because, but we just don't know. They're not being the upper layer of whatever this is not transparent, being very transparent um, to anything below it. But yeah, that's just my concern. And but to go back to what the UAP is that that's obviously something that has different forms of physics at play and has different forms of what we know working to propel and ascend and descend these crafts and have them suspended without any kind of known energy and everything like that, and get in the way of military practices to where they almost crash, or that that pose a danger. It's just, um, I just find that to be important if we are to uh, survive as a global people and global species that can potentially traverse not only the universe, but look into going through what's beyond our own perceptions as far as our physics are allowed to our own body. I don't really have much more to expand on that. It's pretty concise because I've thought a lot about it. Yep. With that, I'm going to call it. Uh, Next Wednesday, we may try to go live again. I'm not sure if it'll be a movie review or if it'll be a uh, a live podcast that we normally do. But we really do appreciate anybody that has come to watch or has come to watch later. Um, Thank you for joining us. I'm Austin Light with the American Demon Comics webcomic. You can find that over at AmericanDemonComics.com. And you can find me on TikTok, Substack, and Reddit. And then I was joined by my friend Brandon Ingram, who is having a shortage on hamsters that created the Dismay Comics brand. And you can find him at Facebook and on Instagram at Dismay Comics. And we appreciate y'all watching. Take care.